Now, my next guest may not be a name that rolls off the tongue of many City fans, but die-hard Blues of the mid to late 1980s will recall him swapping a title charge with Everton for a relegation scrap with City during the latter stages of the 86-87 campaign. Welcome to Tales of Blue and My City Story, Kevin Langley. How are you doing, Kevin?
Doing great, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. And thanks for joining us. It's much appreciated.
No problem.
So prior to joining City, Kev, you spent 9 months under a future City boss in Howard Kendall, a legend of the game, particularly at Everton.
Yeah.
What was Howard like to work with?
Howard was he was brilliant. Obviously, he was watching me. Well, he wasn't watching me. He was watching Warren Aspinall. We both was at Wigan, and obviously when we played at Wembley in the Freight Rover for Wigan, obviously the Warren was like signed on, but he seen me, and obviously he come in for me, and obviously when I went there, he was a top bloke, like, you know what I mean. He was a midfield player himself, and obviously helped me with Howard and Colin Harvey, really. So it was a great manager.
So City come calling in March 1987. When did you first hear of the interest and the possibility of a move to Maine Road?
Well, funny enough, when I was at Wigan, I should have signed for City before Everton, really. It was dead funny because when I was at Wigan, it's a little story, Mark. Is it all right for telling?
Oh, no, carry on.
Well, all it was, I was playing, and on the Sunday, it used to be the Sunday People, and I was like always in the paper at the back, somebody's watching me, and it was always Manchester City. So when I was playing, and I never heard anything from the club, but I always seen Tony Buck there, and Tony Buck was always at the game, and like I used to go past him, and he used to go to me, "Hiya, son, how are you doing?" And I used to go, "Oh, great," like, and I used to go home and to be down and go, oh, "Tony Buck there, he was there," like, you know what I mean? I wonder who he's watching. So then all of a sudden it went on, and then I was out one night in a nightclub with it was my girlfriend, my wife now. I was in Wigan, and about 12 at night, I get on the DJ went, "It's Kevin Langley in here, please. You need to go to the phone urgently." So as I say, I went. I'm thinking, what's happening here? Yeah. And at the other end was Mr. Freddie Pye.
Okay. Yeah.
And he said to me, "Hiya, Ken," because he was at Wigan when I was there, but he was the chairman. Mm-hmm. So when he moved, when Bobby Charlton was there, obviously he knew me, and that. So he said, "Right, Kevin, I'm going to pick you up." And I went, "What?" He said, "I'm going to pick you up. Your chairman said that we can sign you and all that." And it was in a nightclub, 12. Freddie rang me, and obviously Freddie is the man. You know what I mean? I got on really well with him, and I just said, "I can't do that, Mr. Pye." I said, "Me club don't know." I know that. So obviously that was that. Went in next morning, and then they turned it down because obviously they offered 85 grand or something, and obviously Wigan turned it down. They wanted more, you see. So that, funny enough, obviously you're saying, how did I know? I knew a long time ago that City wanted me, and obviously when I went to Everton, obviously I thought I'd done really well because I went there really to learn, Mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a signed 3-year contract, so I thought.
But they were the team, Kev, at the time, weren't they? Everton around that spell.
Yeah. So, Matt, really, I went there really because I was young, and I thought I'm going to learn off Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell. I can name all them players, midfield players. So I went there, and then obviously when I went there, Bracewell obviously got injured.
Yeah.
And I got in the team, and they had a lot of injuries, and that's how I got my opportunity there. And obviously then scored 3 goals in 7, which was a goal scorer.
Yeah.
And everybody's going, "Oh, you're doing well." And then obviously Peter come back, and Paul. And then Howard said to me, "Really, you've done brilliant for me, Kevin, but obviously," and I went, "Yeah, fair enough." I stayed there for a bit, and then he said, like, obviously Manchester City.
Yeah.
I showed an interest. So straight away I went, yeah, big club again. And they are a big club. I know they're massive now, but there was a big club then, you know what I mean?
Name,
Fan base was brilliant, so I did get a phone call on a Wednesday morning off Howard, and he said, obviously, they've shown an interest, and obviously, what do you think? And I just thought about it. I thought, well, Bracewell and Reid are going to be there for years.
Yeah.
And so City, big club, and that's how I went, man.
Not too many people looking back will say they got a call tapped up in a nightclub, will they? That's a fantastic,
Unbelievable, yeah. You know, and
fantastic story.
I was driving that night anyway, so it's a good job we never had a
Yeah,
few, you know, because I said, "Come on, Freddie, yeah, I'll sign," like, you know, so.
yeah, yeah. You might have woke up and signed, yeah.
No.
So City were fighting relegation at that stage. What do you call the manager Jimmy Frizzell saying to you to convince you to join the fight that City clearly had, or was it a case that Everton, the players were back, so maybe it was a
Well, it was well, I mean, as I say again, City big club, and as I said, there was a lot of good characters still at Manchester City. Very young team coming up. He mentioned, I can mention, Paul Lake. If he didn't have the injury, he would have played for England. He was absolutely going to be a top player. You had Whitey on the wing. You had Paul Stewart at the top.
But it's a good blend, wasn't there, of experienced lads and young lads. He had Mick McCarthy, John Gibbons,
Mick,
McNabb, and then mixed with the blend of the young lads. What age were you then, Kevin? What age?
I was age 22, Mark.
You would have fitted in perfectly.
Yeah, so obviously with that, and then as you said, Mick was at the back. We had Kenny Clements, we had Derek Nixon, or Perry Suckling, and we had John Gidman. You know what I mean? So we had Andy Hinchcliffe. Yeah. So when you think about Everton, were a great team, but when you have a look at City, what they was building then, obviously in the relegation battle, they were very young to go through that, and it is very hard. Yeah. But if we would have stayed up there, who knows?
Can you recall the atmosphere around the club? Because I know we were struggling, City was struggling. It looked like we were going one way. Can you recall the atmosphere and the spirit in the squad? As
I said, when I turned up the first, morning, the lads were great and whatever. And we used to walk round to the old training ground at Platt Lane, and we just had a crack in the jaw. I mean, I didn't really know him really. I've seen him on the telly, but obviously they were great. Paul Simpson. I can go on about Matt Seagrave come from I think Norwich, and the atmosphere really. I don't know if it's because I was young, and there's a lot of young lads. I don't think there wasn't. The atmosphere was very good. You see, Mike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought we want to get out, play, and do the best for City and keep City up. Like, you know what I mean? So the atmosphere there, Mark. I was excited because I went to City. So really, there was no nervousness there. I didn't recall it anyway.
So a debut follows at fellow strugglers Leicester on the 26th of March 1987, with City going down 4-0. What do you call that debut, Kev? And had you wondered what on earth you'd let yourself in for that afternoon?
Well, yeah, I mean, you do think that really, Matt, but obviously you look at Leicester, the team, they had a very good team, like, you know what I mean? And obviously, you go, you want to win, you want to have a good game and whatever. But as I say, it was disappointed, but as I say, like, we just got on the coach and said, like, next time, next game, we're gonna, 100% work hard and get a win, like,
Well, possibly the squad was good enough to stay up.
Yeah.
On earlier, maybe we could have just said they could have pushed on from then. But how did you find Jimmy Frizzell's style of management?
Jimmy, well, as I say, he to be fair, he didn't really do. He was always in his suit, Jimmy. He had a tracksuit on now and again, but Bucky and Glenn Pardo, they had good coaches there. You know what I mean? And Jimmy was there, but I think with Bucky, Bucky wasn't that old and all. Bucky, like, I think he was in his 40s. You know what I mean? He's joining in, but like, he obviously he was one of them managers, Jimmy, that he had a suit and. You know what I mean? Never really had a tracksuit on, really. You know what I mean? So, as I say, I mean, obviously the training and all that is totally different from now. Like in the 80s, it was like, a bit of shape, bit of possession, 5-a-side, loads of running. You know what I mean? But now it's all technical. They've got loads of this is where I want you to go. We never had all that. No. You know what I mean? Really deep down when I think about it, when we're professionals in the 80s, the coaches, I'm not knocking the coaches, they had badges, but they're nowhere near as good as now. So really, when you go there and you train hard, you keep hold of the ball, and that was it really. But now it's all changed, Mark. You know what I mean? So if that young side, Mark, if that young side with your lakes and all that, was with the coaches now, what are around now, they would,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because he had really ability. They were quick. You know, Paul Molden, what a goal scorer he was. Varady, you know what I mean? So it's totally changed now, Mike. You know, coaching. You know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. So you played the first 5 consecutive games upon joining. You're left out for a trip to Sheffield Wednesday. Jimmy Frizzell, in his programme notes at the time, said he felt that both you and Paul Stewart had just joined were finding the pressure a little difficult as the team struggled. Yeah. How did you feel, Kevin, on a personal level, them first few games at the club were going for you?
Yeah, I mean, it is disappointing, Matt, really. But obviously, you know, you do go there and really, you know, I always say, like, when players go there, like, and we had a few new signings, it takes a long time to gel together. How Jimmy wanted us to play and whatever. I mean, you know, you're going from there to Everton, who, you know, they're all internationals and all that, and no respect to the lads at City. Obviously, some was in the under-21s, but you're looking at Reed, Bracewell, and all them have come off a World Cup
and winning medals regularly.
Yeah, so
through that
it's totally different. They're up there, Mark. So the pressure is it's sky high. Well, not sky high. The pressure, it's totally different than when you're down there. And when you're young and all that, you do have a little bit. You go like that, and then so Jimmy thought, well, you know, he's been there, he's come in, and he's done okay, but. Obviously, he's gone with another player in midfield. It might have been an older midfield player. I forgot who it was. Older midfield player and a different, you know, and it's away at Sheffield. Hard, you know, Hildeborough, hard game. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was young, disappointed, but you just have to get up, then work hard in training and get back in, like, you know.
I mean, you returned to the side. City beat Arsenal at Maine Road a week later. Your first win as a City player. What do you call of that fixture and finally getting a win under your belt? 3-0, I think it was.
Was it 3-1?
3-0 or 3-1.
3-0, yeah. I was going to say, because I know, I mean, you know, it was a long time ago, but yeah, I was going to say 3-0. Yeah, that was good. Arsenal again, like, you know what I mean? They, you know, we go there and I think we played them off the park, really. And, you know, when you come off there and you go like that, and you go, this is it now, really. You know what I mean? This is the turning point. You know, they had, you know, the plays what they had, you know, Roadcastle, you know,
good side.
Merson, they had all them, like, you know what I mean? And then they come to City and we just, you know, steamrolled them, really, you know what I mean?
Good result. Maybe a little one too late, but you stay in the side, Kevin, for the remainder 3 fixtures. Relegation is confirmed at West Ham on the final day of the season. Was it originally a loan move, Kevin? Because I think it was reported as a loan move, or was it a...
No, but I can say now, really, no. I think I told you on the phone, really, what Mick said to me.
You roomed with Mick when you on the away trips, did you?
Yeah, I did a couple of times. Like, I don't think we stayed all the time away. I think it was the West Ham game, the last game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was like that, like, but obviously, Mick said to me when I walked through the door, like, I just signed, and he said to me, Mick, he went, "Welcome to the club, Kevin. I hope you will give 110%." I said, "Yeah, we'll do, Mick," because obviously, big lad, Mick, he's Yorkshire and all that, and I went, yeah. He said, because I know you're on loan, so I know loan players sometimes don't. And I couldn't tell him that I'd signed permanently, like, because obviously I don't know what went on. He told me not to say that it was.
So it was never a loan. It was.
No, I signed straight away, really, for City. I signed a 3-year contract with City. I knew, Everton knew, City knew, but obviously told me, and I thought, well, I'm not going to say nothing really. Yeah. But Mick did, and I don't know if he recalls it. It's a long time ago. He did shake me out. He shook me hand. He went, "Welcome to Manchester City, Kevin. We're in a relegation, and you're going to give me 110%." Because he was the captain. And I went, "Yes, Mick." He said, "Because I've seen a lot of loan players, and they come and they go, I'm only on loan." And I went, "Oh, Mick."
But he always did tend to say what he was thinking, Mick, and he hasn't changed either. So
yeah.
But City relegated. Mel Machin arrives as the new manager for the summer of '87. Jimmy Frizzell moves upstairs. Did you have much interaction with Mel when he first came in?
Not really. Obviously, what happened there, Mark? We played. I don't know if Nottingham Forest was there. The game I played against Nottingham Forest was on a Tuesday night, and obviously the ball bounced, and I've gone in with it, and Des Walker has kicked the ball, and my knee. That's when I had, my cartilage out. My knee went back, so obviously what happened then, Mark, I played on, as I said, and then obviously Mel Machin come in. And then when my Machin come in, our season had finished anyway. So obviously that was his first time with the squad and whatever. So we went to Gabon in Africa and we played. It was like season had finished. So we thought there's just games and whatever. It's just like a charity games and whatever. And Flamingo, they were playing like Zico, Socrates was on our plane. They was in the tournament. So when we went, we thought it's an holiday, really, and play a game and an holiday too, because we've gone down. We're not too happy, please. So then we go over there, and then Mel Machin come out. We're training. It was about 100 odd degrees. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, and we were doing 1v1s. One from the halfway line to the goal mouth, 1v1s in 110. So obviously he's gone in there to go crack the whip.
Right.
And obviously my knee, obviously didn't know what I've done to my knee. So Roy Billy said, "Oh, you'll be all right, you'll be all right." So when I was playing or training, it was going, like locking on me and all that. And then the final one, I had to come off the training. So I think Mel was thinking, he's having me on here.
Yeah.
But not so long at the West Ham game, and I've never ever said this, but when I was away, well, I was living at my mum and dad's house, and my dad was dying of cancer. He was 48, and he was going up the stairs, and he said to me, "I hope you win." And I went, "Thanks, Dad. I'll give you a ring tonight." So obviously he's gone. I've gone. I never told it. It's not this is straight up. So I've gone. Obviously gone there. I was rooming with Mick. Rang my mum about 9 o'clock. I said, "How's my dad?" And she said, "Oh, great." Obviously said, you need to win and all that. Stay up. So I said, "I'll give you a ring in the morning." So in the morning, I rang her about 10 o'clock. Come up and said, "How is he?" He said, "Oh, yeah, he's all right." And he said that. But obviously we played the game, got beat. Then as I'm coming home, we got to the Four Seasons in Manchester. Rang me missus and I said, I'm coming home now. Are we going out to Wigan? And so she said, "Yeah, don't worry about that." She said, "Just have a drink there with the lads. Don't worry, I'll see you hours." So I've come home, knocked on the door. My missus there with the tracksuits on, and mum and dad's in the background looking. Straight away I knew, and he died, my dad. You know what I mean? Why he died during the night, but on that morning I rang my mum, and she obviously. So really, I had that. Really, I know. I went to City, but people don't really know that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because obviously my dad took me and he was 48. You know what I mean? I was 22. You know what I mean? Not a great age really, and so I had that mark. You know what I mean? Yeah. So at the end of the day, people go, well, but I'm not saying it affected me, but it was there, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nobody knew that. You know what I mean? And obviously, you know what I mean. But that was it. You know what I mean? So
City that head off to Scandinavia for pre-season tour. You feature in the squad team photo for that summer, Kev, but you don't play at all. So the injury keeps you out for quite a while. You don't come back. We don't see you again. You come back for the reserves in September 1987. You're part of a reserve side that beats Grimsby 8-0. So such a long layoff. How did you see it progressing that season? Just to get back, did you have a chance of getting back in the first team?
Again, Mark. Really, you know vibes of the football club. Obviously, when Mel Machin and whatever. When I come back, I had trouble with my knee. It wasn't the greatest. They had my cartilage out. Yeah. Obviously, when they went to Scandinavia, there was nobody at the club, so they sent me to Lilleshall. I went to Lilleshall and I was doing all kinds of stuff with it. Should never have done really, but obviously there's nobody to look after us. I went down there. They had me doing, I'm not getting into it, but it wasn't very good. So I come home and obviously I had the infection in the knee and all that, and it was really bad, Mark. I don't really want to get into it.
No, sure, that's fine, Kevin.
But obviously, it was
just seems to be a catalogue. You didn't get fit, did you? With it, just keep.
Well, no, I come back. I was coming back, and I was and all this and then I kind of in training. Mel Machin, obviously, at the end of the day, you get a player go to a club, and then a new manager comes in. Yeah. And he goes, "No, I don't want him. I want somebody else in before him. Can we get money back for him?" And that was the case, Matt, because what happened with Mel Machin, I was training and whatever, and I always remember it. I was training with Roy and doing stretches and everything in the gym. So I was getting back, and then what happened is on a Friday we trained and whatever. I've not been on the team sheet, and then Mel Machin come in, and obviously Paul Stewart said to me, I got on really well with Paul Stewart, and he said, you'll be in the squad tomorrow, Kev, definitely, because such your body's injured, so you'll get in, Kev. Because I always had a chat with Paul and going, it's going to work here. And he was made up, but then all of a sudden when I looked at the sheet, I wasn't on.
Right.
What's that like?
You started to play regular then, didn't you? You started to play regular for the reserves. So.
Yeah, but what happened, Mark, he come in his flip-flops and had a pen, a biro, all that was all typed out, my biro, and he put my name in the biro straight away. That tells you something. Yeah. So obviously that I was on the bench against Leeds United, didn't get on, and obviously that my dad see me in that game.
Yeah.
See, was it on that? Yeah, no, it wasn't on. No, he did go a game when he, so, but then all of a sudden it just and then all of a sudden he said to me, I come one morning on a Wednesday, Matt Seaver was in the dressing room, got changed, and then Jimmy Frizzell come down, who obviously was his assistant manager or whatever, and he said, Kevin, the gaffer wants you. No, his bookie come, he said, the gaffer wants you. So that was Jimmy. So I went in, knocked on his door, he said, son, he said, sit down, so I sat down in the chair, and the kids, I thought, I'm going to play on, I'm playing on Saturday. He said, Kevin, we've had an offer. I went, have you? And he said, yeah. He said, Crystal Palace. And I said, oh, have you? He said, yeah, you going? I said, what? I'm going. He said, yeah, you going. He said, we end 150 grand. You going? I said, no, I'm not. And he went, what? He said, yeah. So we had like all this. So Mark had just put the phone. I said, can I use your phone? And I went, Mum, I've got the gaffer. He said, I'm going to Crystal Palace. What do you think? She went, no, you're not. And I went, I said, thanks very much. So I left the room. So Jimmy Frizzell said, where are you going? I said, no, my mum said I'm not going. Because, they're playing a game with me. I knew what it was. So all of a sudden, so that was that. So then he said to me, Steve Coppell, go meet him. So I went down to London with my missus and met Steve, and I was in traffic, and he said, you can, this house here will be yours, you get no signing on fee, blah, blah, blah. Went there, went into Sellers Park, went upstairs, Chairman was there washing his hands, drying it, Ron Nodes, and he went, Mr. Chairman, this is Kevin, we're hoping to sign. I went for the shake his hand, he went, oh, I've just dried my hands. So straight away you go, oh, flipping it. So when I went to the office, Steve Coppell went, Kevin, don't worry about it. Like that. So then all of a sudden, goes in the car, goes to the hotel, he said, Kevin, have anything you want on the club, meal, whatever. Physio will come back tonight, you're going for your medical, and then we'll see how it is. We'll check your knee and all that. And I said, fair enough. So I went back. I went to the hotel and said to Mrs, what do you rent? She went, what do you? I said, I'm not signing. So I never had any meal or anything, Mike. Never done anything for Crystal Palace, nothing. And then the phone must have rang 500 times. Jimmy Frizzell effing and blind, and he was blind. That's what I had.
You didn't do as you're told, and they wasn't happy. So you knew you'd be moving on, Kev. You knew you'd be moving on.
But not down to London, like, so you know what I mean? Really, that's 20 odd. But what it is, Mike, at the end of the day, what it is that when I come back, I found out Freddie Pye got me in the office. He said, what's going on? I told him, and he said, can't believe that. And what happened is, what I found out that Jeremy Goss was in, they had a game on the night, Man City, I recall, a night match, and Jeremy Goss was in Mel Machin's office waiting for me to put pen to paper.
Right, yeah.
But then he was ready to sign. But when that closed, he had to go back to Norwich. So that wasn't good.
I remember Jeremy Goss being linked with City and not signing. And obviously, Mel would have known him from his coaching days at Norwich as well.
Good player.
But I bet Jeremy Goss says now he had a lucky escape then, because obviously City.
We don't doubt that. But obviously, you know what I mean. So that's. Yeah. I've never said out to anybody. Only my family know that, you know what I mean. But I know football.
It's football, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I want to ask you about a player who you featured in the reserves regularly that season. Peter Barnes had fallen out of favour. He was playing the reserves to City. He was still only 30 then, and he was a huge name at City in the 70s. How do you remember Peter from that spell?
honestly, Peter come really good mates with him, obviously, because he was in the stand, like, you know what I mean? We had a pint or whatever, and knew his dad very well. His dad was a gentleman, and he obviously was, you know, he can, you know what I mean? And he was brilliant, Peter. He always said to me in the stand, he went to me, Kevin, he says, have boots, will travel. He said that. So he always said that. He always, you know, and you know, what a talent, 30. Yeah. Again, I think Peter, obviously, you know, at the end of the day, he was more experienced than anybody, but deep down, he's been big clubs and whatever. And then when Mel Mitchell come in, I think really deep down, I think got under Peter's skin and Peter got under him. So at the end of the day, Peter, I never ever had to go at Mel Mitchell. But Peter, I think Peter might have done really, you know what I mean? And then I think that was it then, really.
Yeah, he only played once in the first team under Mel Machin, Peter. Yeah. He was gone. Yeah. So a loan spell at Chester, Kev, then a permanent move to Birmingham sees you leave Maine Road almost a year after your arrival. Yeah. But how do you look back, Kevin, and describe your spell at City, good or bad now?
Well, I was really looking forward to it because obviously the talent what they had there, Mark. Obviously, very disappointed that we got relegated because on that year and all, after went down, I got a phone call off Everton and went to go and pick my championship medal up. And you know, going down and whatever, you know what I mean. And obviously, you know, a little story like when we went to Everton, we drew 0-0. Me and Neil McNabb were in midfield against Reed and all the big names, and we went there. We drew 0-0, and if Everton would have won, they would have won the league. Yeah. But before the game, I was walking, and Colin Harvey took me to one side and went, "Hey, Kevin, how is it? Blah blah blah." He said, "You know, if we win today, you will get a championship medal." I said, "What do you mean by that, Col?" He said, "Well, you know what I mean, Kev." I said, "I don't know what you mean, Kev." Colin, I said, yeah. "I'm at City now, and that's where I'm helping them." You know what I mean? And that was that. I got the medal in the end, but he was playing a bit of a little game, like
trying to get in here, I think.
Yeah. So as I said, I think really massive club. Fans unbelievable, you know what I mean, the home away, and that's how big a club they are. And obviously I was disappointed it didn't work. Obviously, I mean, the Carlings didn't help me.
No, of course not.
Things happening in football, you know, and obviously that's what happened. But really enjoyed the time. I was there, the lads were great, and obviously, you know, but it was a big club.
So what's your opinion of the modern day side, Kevin, and which players of City of today would you pay money to watch?
All of them. They're just unbelievable, Mark. I mean, you know, the way they're just unbelievable. You know, they talk about Liverpool, yeah, good side, but different styles of play. Liverpool keep it for a bit and then they just bang it forward for the runners, quick players, and that's how hard work. But City play from the back, the patient, then all of a sudden, bump, and then they get crosses in, they get movements, and they just, as Pep said once, somebody said, you know, he says, how do you do that with him? He said, just look where the ball is and follow the ball, and that's what it is. And as I say, I do go watching them, Mark. Obviously, you know, they look after me, past players and that. Yeah, really appreciate that. But obviously, it's a joy to watch them. Really, I go with my son. He plays football, but when obviously he's not around again, we go watching City, and they're just unbelievable. They're well worth the money what you pay. It is dear for fans, but they come away there and they get really entertaining with goals, and with Ireland coming in now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Another level.
Oh, unbelievable. 22. Oh.
So, Kevin, you're a midfielder by trade. If you could take one player from today's game to play alongside when you played, who would it be and why?
Well, again, you know, people say I'm biased because obviously I played there. Kevin De Bruyne is just out of this world, like, and you know, and I don't think anybody can disagree with that. He's just got everything in his locker. And Alan, I think really deep down, I think his dad has turned around and gone, "You're going to get loads." And he would have mentioned, because obviously his dad was a midfield player. I mean, an hard-working midfield player, but he can put a ball on a sixpence, and he's just unbelievable.
And he's done it consistently now, Kevin, for
yeah,
7 years or whatever the time.
Just unbelievable. He just scores goals, he creates them, he works hard, he puts a foot in. You know, I don't think there's a weakness in him, though, really. I never see him heading because I don't think he needs to head it because the ball is never in the air by City. You know what I mean? So really, he doesn't need to do that, Mark. He's just like gets the ball and he just doesn't complicate the game at all. And I think a lot of players want to see try and beat 5 and 6 men, give it away, might win it back, and then the crowd go, "Oh, he's won it back." He's give the ball away, but Kevin De Bruyne just gets it, passes in, then moves again. He's not the quickest, but he doesn't have to be.
He doesn't need to be.
Does he? But he will have a statue at Manchester City,
I think
without doubt.
So, Kevin, I think I'm right in saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're a Liverpool fan at heart. So,
well,
who do you see for the title this season?
Well, I'm not a Liverpool fan. I'm not really. I mean, I used to support them years ago when it was, but obviously, I would say now what is really interesting, Mark, is people talk about Liverpool, Man City. It's just them. I think now, which is really good, is that you've got your Tottenham now, Arsenal. You've got 5 teams. And I think that's brilliant. I think it's just like it's been getting like the Scottish League with Celtic, Rangers, and then all of a sudden you just see these two, Man City and Liverpool, drawing away, and then it's just about everybody's talking about them. But now with Tottenham and all that, it's really interesting. But I think on quality players, squad, it's City all day to win the league. And I'm not just saying I think they'll go and win the Champions League with Ireland now, with that. The presence he's got up there, Mark, I think.
Yeah, as proof on the Dortmund game midweek, the other week, it didn't look like we're scoring, and all of a sudden that was the difference, was maybe the big thing that was missing.
It's a big difference, Mark, isn't it? And they've got a couple of new players, the lad at the back, the centre half, he's going to be a player, and he's quick. We don't have to rely on them.
He already looks like he's been there a couple of seasons already. They're just integrating.
Comfortable Mark, and he can win the header, an header. But like they've always been relying on them, Walker all the time, Mark. If he's not in, or he's got no chance. But now if you've got Walker in and you've got him in, I tell you what, that's where they've been. Even though they've been having clean sheets, Mark, I think they've been a bit, vulnerable at the back at times. But I think with him now, with his pace, I think they can afford to really push up the field. And then you've got Walker, you've got him, and nobody's ever going to do him, Mark, Eddie, really, on the counter, really. But, what a squad he's got there, and what a manager, by the way.
Absolutely. So what's Kevin Langley of 2022 up to?
Me, what I'm doing is I do go watching me son. He's 30 now. He's had a lot of injuries. He's got more injuries than anybody.
Still had Josh. Is it Josh?
Yeah, Josh. Yeah, he was at Wigan when he was 6, and then he got a pro at Wigan under Martinez. He was on the fringe of the first team. Nobody knows this. He never played for the first team, but he was going away to on tour with them and doing really well. But he was fullback. He's a centre half. He played fullback. He played with all that FA Cup winning team in pre-season. I know, I was there, but obviously, and then he gets an injury, and then all of a sudden they offer him a 3-month contract because obviously, he's going to get injured again. One of them, so then he moved on, and then went to Filed, and had 3 promotions, went to the conference, and he was captain. Barnes, they put a bid in for him, and all that. He turned it down, and then he done his cruciate ligament 10 games in. So then that was a big. He was like 24,
right?
Flying, and then obviously and then he had to move on and all that. Now he's at Warrington Rylands, now 5 minutes from me, and obviously 30's my lad, and he still could play in the league, but obviously he's got a physiotherapy now, and obviously for
building the next stage, then probably for the future.
Yeah, really, PFA, got this for him, and physiotherapy, enjoys it. But obviously I go watching him, Mark. Obviously I've got a job, I'm a landscape gardener. I've been doing it for a good few years. It's fitness, really, you know what I mean? I enjoy it. And then I play a lot of golf with me missus, and obviously I'm a member there, at Ashton Golf Club,
Great stuff. Kevin,
Gone
it's been
busy.
an absolute pleasure to talk to you and share your City story. Thank you for taking the time to do so, and I wish you all the very, very best for the future.
Thanks very much, Matt. That's brilliant, lad. Look after yourself, lad.